So as Reverend Kathy said, the topic for today is seek the common good. And what is the common good? What is the common good? You know, there isn't a time that I don't go back to the basics of what we believe and look for answers like that. What is the common good? In our Declaration of Principles for the Science of Mind that Dr. Holmes wrote, one of the things that he said is that there is, in process, on every plane of existence, a complete emancipation from all discord that is surely to be attained by all. We believe that there is one Spirit, one God, one presence. It is the only presence and power and unconditional love and freedom and abundance and joy and prosperity and wholeness and perfection and divine right action. And that every single individual, every manifestation in physical form is that. That there is nothing else other than that. I listened this week to Reverend Rainbow Weldon's talk. And what I was clear about at the end of that talk was that with all of the quotes that she shared, with everything that she said, with anything that was addressed or spoken of that is going on in the physical realm, she said very simply, over and over and over again, the answer is for us as individuals, individually and collectively, to return to love. To get back in alignment with love, with the unconditional nature of love, with the idea that this love is the very essence out of which I have been created. So it's really pretty simple, isn't it? I mean, when it comes right down to it. But the human part of us, the part of us that has been given choice and freedom, has all other kinds of ideas about how to go about doing that. Now, Dr. Holmes, on the other side of the fence, he says we tell this universal, impressionable mind that is the only mind that is happening and the mind that we're using, we tell it what? Not how. What? Perfect divine right action. If the wholeness of God is everywhere present, and I am that wholeness, I place a demand upon the universal mind, which is my mind, to see wholeness and goodness and love in everything. I might have to start seeing with something other than my actual eyes. I might have to start seeing with my heart. Because the answer is always returning to love. And this complete emancipation from all discord that is surely, Dr. Holmes says, surely to be attained by all, has to begin within each and every one of us. It has to begin within me. So if I am getting all churned up by something that is happening or that I'm seeing out there, I got to work it out in consciousness. And isn't that the story of Job in the Bible? He had to work it out. And he kept going back to his cave and back to his home, which metaphysically is within consciousness. And he wrestled with it. And he suffered, for goodness sake. In the stories, did he suffer? Until he decided to stop putting his belief in what he was seeing, because he was the only one that was seeing. And to return to love. Now, the book that the Cultural Integrity and Spiritual Evolution Committee chose for the month of February around love is by the Dalai Lama. And it's called Beyond Religion. Have you heard of it? It's not a brand new book, actually. And the subtitle is Ethics for a Whole World. Now, this is a fascinating book because, as we all know, the Dalai Lama is very spiritual. However, some Buddhists will tell you they don't believe in God, but they do believe in spirit. So it's all definition of words. But the Dalai Lama tells us right up front really what's happening here. Ethics for a whole world. And he says in the very beginning, when he states what's the problem, what is it that's happening that is causing so much suffering? Because obviously when we look out into the world, we might say, I'm not going to say this 100%, but we might say something's not working. Something's amiss. Something is off out there. But see, as soon as I start to say that and go down that road, really what I'm saying is something's amiss right here. I'm off. Because I'm the one that's seeing it. And as I see it, so it is. We're asked, we're told, it's suggested, you can be part of the solution, or you can be part of the problem. Where do you want to put your energy? Because where your focus goes, the energy flows. We get to decide that. We have to remember that we have been created free. And what that means to me is that I can't say my way. I say how the infinite mind of God manifests it and says what. Now I want to share with you a story. This is just really brief. But there's this free magazine in Chico called Upgraded Living. And so they do personal stories and things that are going on, and here's the new restaurant. And, I've always seen it as kind of like that and nothing really profound. So I was sitting in my chiropractor's office because something was off. And I was flipping through the magazine. It's very attractive. And I came across this piece that was saying that these different businesses that do makeup and clothing and shoes and hairstyles, that they all got together and they started looking out into the community to do makeovers for people who had changed their lives. And I thought, well, that's really cool. And because the article is that short. I mean, just like that. So I read it. I probably wouldn't have read a long article. And I was just blown away. And I want to share with you the two stories of 4 people that received the makeover. One is a woman named Champel. Champel Davison's first years in Chico were nothing but bad stuff, including drugs. Living on the streets, she slept outside the Jesus Center. She lost twins to CPS. Another child died at birth. And she was left wondering what more could go wrong. Nothing, as it turns out. She gave birth to a baby girl, and all the bad stuff came to a halt. She credits God with the overwhelming feeling of embarrassment washing over her. Not shame. Embarrassment. Big difference. She looked around at her dire situation saying, no more. She made a decision. She used her power of choice. No more. 7 months later, she and her daughter moved from the streets to inside the Jesus Center and have since moved to the Lily House with her friend Ricky. Champel's story of redemption is so compelling that she was asked to speak on stage at the National Prayer Day gathering in the City Plaza. She shook her head in amazement as she admitted that she had never done anything like that before. She gleamed as she shared a picture of her daughter and that she now has a part-time job at the Jesus Center. Her dream is to work with severely handicapped kids, and it appears her dream will most assuredly come through. I'm sitting in the chiropractor's office crying. I was like, I thought this was just going to, So she made a decision. No more. She made that decision in direct relationship to what she was experiencing because she was suffering. She said that she attributes her relationship with God to her ability to make that decision. Now, we know in the science of mind, Dr. Holmes said the thing itself. So it doesn't matter what you call it. It's the same thing. It's a universal essence of unconditional love that is what we are. One thing, oneness, no separation, nothing different. And Dr. Holmes says, we have all learned all we need to learn from suffering. We don't have to suffer. When we suffer, we have the God-given, the spiritual-given ability to make another choice, to stop. Sometimes that's the word that I actually say to myself when I get all in a dither. Stop. Because that dither consciousness, that upset, needs clear direction. Stop. Who do you think you are? What is it that you really believe? I remember one day in my early career of ministry when I used to suffer and experience migraine headaches oh so frequently. And I was speaking that day. For some reason, our senior minister was there. Usually I was speaking as assistant. I was speaking when she wasn't there. So I don't know why she was there. But I think it was perfect divine right action. Because I walked into her office as I came in. just hi. And she looked at me and she goes, "You have a headache." And they were always the kind of headaches that made me feel like I was going to be sick. I go, "Yeah, I have a headache." And she came up about this close to me and she said, "What do you really believe? Do you really believe this stuff?" That was a stop prayer. It got my attention. And I turned around and walked out of her office, slightly embarrassed, but really more reminded, and asked the question, what do I really believe? And I pondered that, and within 15 minutes, and this is no small thing for how I used to experience these things, when I got up on the platform to give my talk, that headache was gone. Now, I wasn't able to replicate that every single time. But within not too many years after that, I did not suffer headaches anymore. And I had to do a lot of stop from being all in a dither about things and reworking my mind, because isn't our body a manifestation of what we're experiencing in our thinking? So sometimes it's just telling us we're too busy. We're trying to do too many things. Go, 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 go. And, the body can only take so much. So the body's going to just naturally do what it does. Now, the Dalai Lama says that the problem is that the world, that people are paying too much attention to what's going on out there in the world and to their own problems. He says it's a problem of focusing on the physical reality and trying to change things at the level of the physical reality. Well, let me give you an example of what that's like. If I walked up to the mirror in my bathroom to fix my hair, if I was trying to change it at the physical reality out there, I'd be trying to comb the mirror. And we know, well, that's stupid. That's dumb. Why would you do that? Instead of making the change here. And then don't we want everybody else to change? And we think we know the answer to all the world's problems. So, a part of that is he's saying we focus on the other much more than focusing on the truth of who we are. He also goes into saying that the answer to this is we educate our heart through the training of our mind. So as I begin to withdraw my focus from out here and ask myself, what is it I believe? And answer that question. Well, I believe that there's only one universal mind, and that mind is whole, complete, and perfect. It contains all potential of possibilities for me and for the world. And that's where I need to stay. And believe you me, when you anchor yourself there, so many things unlike it are going to begin to come up. Dr. Holmes says, how does it work? What is seeking the common good? What is the common good? He says it begins in us. And the other one that I wanted to share with you is this guy, Will. it out on the... That's will. Come on. I know you have the potential. Will Priest understands the clear difference between being clean and the initiative to be clean. The change resulted from leaving the Army, losing a home, and finding drugs. As the drugs changed, so did the fun. The true tipping point stemmed from seeing his kids staring at a TV, lifeless and zoned out. As difficult as it was, Will knew that he had to give up his kids. 6 months of classes at the Oroville Rescue Mission led to volunteering there, where he became in charge of clothing. This led to a place in the Esplanade House where he built more trust with the people he worked with and volunteered at the Hope Center feeding the homeless. Will signed up for Terra Fuego, admitting that they made the work sound much cooler than picking up branches in the hills. This experience led him right into the firestorm outfit, fighting wildfires. Firestorm was much like the military, he said, and he embraced the new sense of discipline. We are so blessed where we are right now, Will admits. He finds firefighting fun and stressful, and allowing time at home. He points out that this job helps a lot. It keeps me steady emotionally and keeps me busy. We applaud his fight for change and celebrate his new life. So maybe in that little story you hear the same thing. He made a decision. He made a very tough situation, but his situation was very tough. We don't need to let our situation get that tough. But wherever it is, whatever new decision needs to be made, what do you really believe about that? He was willing. He knew. Something within him told him, I've got to live to be anything for them. And I can't do what I need to do and take care of my kids. I cannot nurture them. I can't give them what they need. I love them enough to let them go for now. Can you imagine? And I don't mean just the dedication, but the inspiration, the openness, the willingness to change, the trust that something else would show up for him, that he was willing to let go of his kids. I don't know about you, but I think he believed in something really powerful within himself. And what it is that causes one person to make a change like that whenever they do it and others to not, there's perfect divine right timing in the world. So what is the common good? Well, there is that within us that knows. When you look out into the world and you ask yourself what you believe, what is the common good about what you believe? Do you believe that there are the resources and the answers for all of the problems that we face? If we look to philosophy, if we look to science and technology, when we hear about the food that is produced and the potential of that, there's more than enough food to feed everybody. When we look at human rights, part of what the common good is that we have a right to be happy. I have a right to be happy and live my life as I see fit, as long as it does not hurt or harm anyone else. That's the common good. When I'm out seeking a job, if I was, or I'm knowing that I'm in the place of change in my life, or I'm taking on something new, whether it be education or becoming more healthy. If it's a weak decision, if it's kind of a mamby-pamby decision, how far is it going to take me? So the Dalai Lama tells us that ethics for a whole world is using our mind, and it educates our heart. And what that reminded me of is, as a man, as a woman is in his or her heart, so our life shall be. The heart knows. The heart doesn't even need religion. The heart doesn't even need spirituality. The Dalai Lama says, His Holiness the Dalai Lama says, we need to move beyond religion, because there are more and more people in the world all the time that say, I don't need religion, I don't choose any kind of religion or spirituality, I don't even believe in God. And so ethics for a whole world is talking about values. What I value peace. Everybody can agree on that. I value harmony. I value the ideal of abundance, that there's more than enough. I value unconditional love. I value every single individual having choice to live their life the way that their heart guides them to live. I value all children having food. I value everybody having a place to live, because that fits in love, peace, harmony, joy, abundance, freedom, wholeness, nothing lacking. I value that. Now, after the service today, we want to invite you, when the tables get set up for a potluck, to have a conversation about the search for the new minister and how this relates to the message today is very much about what we value and our ability to make clear choices with our mind, aligned with our mind and our heart about what we value, and stay centered in that. What's the opposite? I'm truly asking. An example. What would be the opposite of that? What, if you just think of yourself, or not feeling, what was the word? To surrender to the process of it? Okay, and you're saying not the two. Okay, but that's all right. Okay, what else might happen? But if you weren't, Yeah, if you were just looking at what was happening and naming it and getting, you'd think it's not working. Exactly. You get all turned up about it. You get kind of fearful about it. Any specific examples of how that might show up? Okay. And then if you're feeling hopeless, what do you do? How do you start acting? Like, okay, so one might give up. What's another way of coping with it? How about getting all controlling about it? Well, we got to make this happen. We have to figure out why this isn't happening. What are we going to do about it? Let's fix it. Something's wrong here. Where our focus goes, the energy flows. So really, this isn't about the minister search. This is about the minister attraction. Attracting energy, attracting like. So that's what we're going to talk about. And the ethics for a whole world are happening right here. Ethics beyond religion. We should be able to go out into the world and talk about this in everyday language. Not that God's going to handle it for us. I mean, but we could talk about it that way. But that we know, where's that? We know that when I say, the intention for our new minister is to inspire me to live as love in the expression of my wholeness. Now, Reverend Kathy last week when she did the marriage ceremony, marriage with self, how powerful was that? And when we were talking about it later, she said, oh yeah, you know how you go, well, okay, I want a man in my life or I want a woman I want somebody in my life that is grounded and powerful and healthy and prosperous. All the things that I'm not, because it's going to straighten me out. So you'll notice, this is in your program, that the way that intention is personalized is to say, I am inspired to live as love in the expression of my wholeness. So I take the intention and personalize it. The intention for the new minister is to inspire me to live as love in the expression of my wholeness. So my work, to have a minister like that, my work is to affirm and know, just like my minister said to me, what do you really believe? That I am inspired to live as love in the expression of my wholeness. And because I am living in that place in wholeness where nothing is missing, I know that perfect, I don't like the word perfect, that the right minister for this community, like mind, is being attracted here. And so so let's do our affirmative prayer. Hey, would you like to do affirmative prayer with me about that? That I am inspired to live as love, to get grounded in that, and that I'm awakening to the wisdom within me, and that the process of this quote-unquote new minister search is one that allows me to deepen my faith. It gives me the opportunity to face those things within me that I fear or that I'm apprehensive. It gives me an opportunity to say, wow, if I'm trying to fix it and control it or hide from it or getting confused by it or worried about it, then that's got to be cleared up in consciousness, in me. What do I really believe about that? What is this universal What is the nature of the universe and me? Because there is only one. This is the truth. So whether you're somebody like Champel, who lost those children, who turned to drugs out of desperation, but made a decision or will, who served, our country, came back with huge issues, had no job, lost his home, turned to drugs. He made a decision. What's your decision? The only reason that this center is here is for you. For each and every one of you. Every single thing, do you realize that? That every single thing that happens here, every talk, every prayer, every music offering, Joe sitting back there, Billy doing what he's doing, your assistant ministers, the workshops, it's for you. You're the one. It's not happening for any other reason. And you're worth it. And you're worth having a minister that inspires and teaches and loves and knows how to do healing work. Somebody that has faith, that together you can grow from a healthy place of where you are. Well, I see that growth as a giving out into the world. This is all for you, and it's all for the people who have yet to come. That's why we're here. It's the only reason that we're here. And you're needed. So let's get about the business of that in your life, here, and in every way. And know that you are the power. And this is what seeking the common good is about. Okay? Yes. All right. Awesome. And so it is.